He criticized our work earlier today.
No, nigga, Joe was playing with our intelligence that day. Joe was playing with our intelligence, saying, "Yo, I'm bringing Marc Lamont up here, Lamont Hill here for y'all." You wasn't bringing him here for us. You were bringing him here for you. There's a very big difference.
See, not to me.
We ain't had a week.
What's for y'all is for me.
True. But you said,
I don't think it's a difference.
Whoa. You said, yo, I'm bringing him up here to give y'all some relief so that each one of y'all could have a day off.
And me.
So that each one of y'all can have a day off every week.
I forgot about that.
I forgot all about that shit.
I didn't.
I forgot they
We ain't got the days off, nigga. You must have forgot.
I didn't forget.
So why we ain't get our days off, Aki?
Because Mark is too great.
What they got to do with our days? See, I got you. I'm here.
You don't have me.
I'm Sprite. I'm Sprite. I'm lively today.
He got you.
I'm Sprite.
He got you.
You said you ain't forget.
Obey your thirst.
No, he do that. He like to stick to one.
Obey your thirst. He's Sprite, nigga. Obey your
He like to stick to one point.
He got you.
He don't have me. I'm responding to the point.
Initially,
that was the thinking with Mark. Then that's what he liked to do, not account for thinking changing. That's true.
Okay.
Everybody gets a day off. When Mark got here, he was great at his gig.
Amazing.
With everybody that was here.
Amazing. Killed it.
So I just kept him.
What that got to do?
What that got to do with?
If he's so no, I got him.
He was too great.
I got him.
Nobody gets a day off now.
If he's so great, look. If Mark is so great,
why is that a tough decision to make?
No, which I'm agreeing that Mark is amazing. But if Mark is so great, then when you give Ice a week off the first week, Mark is so great that we're not gonna miss Ice. Then when you give Mel a day off the second week, Mark's filling in, so we're not gonna miss Mel. Then Ish, then Flip, and go around the board.
And
if that was your premise, and you told me I couldn't get a day off.
He didn't get his day.
But that's not what happened.
He didn't get his day.
What happened is you insert a player that improved everybody and everything. So now you keep player in. I don't understand.
No, the player.
I don't understand.
We're not talking about the player. The
We're
player
talking about y'all.
stays. Yeah.
No, y'all are better when he is, so everybody in. That's bad to say.
No, which means that your premise sucks, caca, because
Maybe it did.
Oh, all right.
Maybe it did
Your
suck.
premise was phony. Fuck
No, I didn't know
here.
Mark was going to come in and do that. Stop. That's not true. I'm not letting
That's
you
no
do that.
way
I'm
you're
not
gonna
letting-
say-
I did not know that Mark was going to do that.
So what you brought him
What
in here
do that
for?
gotta
And I don't want to keep breaking the fifth wall, but I did not think that Mark was going to be.
What do that got to do with everybody in here getting their respective day off per week?
I never remember.
Ish, wait, let me reply to you. Because stupid me thought that everybody was already giving their best, which was a false premise.
What do that
was a
have
false
to
premise.
do?
What the fuck
when
are you
You're not
talking
answering
about?
our question.
I am, and
No,
we
you're
can't
not.
stay on
You
this.
can't
All
stay
right,
on I know you're
I
gonna
know.
roll. You better roll.
I'm
You
standing
better
in
roll.
mine.
We can pick it
I
up.
think I got you.
You don't.
Patreon.
I think I got you.
You don't.
Bring this back to Patreon.
I think I got
We
you.
can't stand here on this.
Yeah.
I think I got you.
I don't. He got you. He got
If you
you.
want to
He
talk,
definitely got
if you
you.
want to
I
talk,
don't think he got me.
You want to
But
talk
y'all
about
got
Patreon,
pom-poms.
nigga.
Get the fuck out of
Y'all
here.
got pom-poms.
There you go with the
Y'all
bullshit.
got pom-poms.
What are
Your
you
favorite uncle is back. Nigga. I get it. I get it.
Uncle Ish.
Your favorite uncle.
Yo.
What up,
You know-
nigga?
I'm happy to be back too.
You know who you sound like
I'm
now.
happy to be back.
Urban Artificial Intelligence Strategic Thinking Media Platform. Ish and Joe Budden had an interesting exchange on one of the recent episodes of the Joe Budden podcast. This is episode 810 called Where the Magic Happens. A pretty good episode. Ish is somebody who we know, if you watch the podcast, Ish is going to check Joe. I think that is one of the qualities in Ish that Joe likes. I think that's why he's such an important part of this podcast. We're going to get to that a little bit later, but we definitely know for sure when it comes to the iffy or the questionable actions that Joe does, the things that he does, we know Ish is going to call about, and he's going to do it in a strategic way. He's going to do it to where he don't seem threatening, but he don't seem like a bitch either. He got a good skill of doing this, of just knowing how to come at Joe about certain things in certain situations. And that's what happened here. That's what he did here on this episode 810 of the Joe Budden podcast. They were discussing the Just Hilarious situation with Lauren LaRosa, DJ Envy, Charlamagne, and Guy at the Breakfast Club. They was discussing how to integrate new employees into already existing workspace, how to make it not awkward, or how to just, smoothly make the transition as smooth as possible. Now, this conversation kind of led into a deeper rabbit hole, coming back to more personal topics as far as Marc Lamont Hill being integrated in the Joe Budden podcast. Now, this was a idea that Joe Budden had, and this is a move that he executed that I don't think he gets enough credit for. I'm not gonna lie. When he first brought Marc Lamont Hill on the podcast, I didn't know how he was gonna fit. I didn't know if his style would fit that type of stage, that type of podcast. Now, that's what we got to give Joe Budden the credit. He's seen the vision. He's seen that this was going to be something that was going to integrate very well. And he worked well with Ice, Ish, Parks, Melissa, and Queen's Flip. He has a certain relationship with every one of the cast members. He dialogues with them very well, and he works off them very well. That was the point that Joe pointed out, saying how he had Marc Lamont Hill in the lineup because of his versatility. Now, the original question about Marc Lamont Hill came from Ish, saying when Marc Lamont came on the show, you said everybody would get a day off. Not everybody got a day off. I don't remember the specific potters that got their day off, but Ish was one of the ones who didn't get his day off. So he was upset at Joe about that. And he kind of pressed Joe in an interesting way. Joe said he brought Mark on the show so the rest of the cast could have days off. When one of the other cast members took a day off, they would call Mark in on that day. He would sub for that podcaster, so on and so forth. Ish called out Joe when he said this could possibly be a way to phase out everybody individually and kind of downgrade everybody's value on the pod. When you have Marc Lamont Hill substitute for Melissa Ford, people won't miss her. When you have him substituting for Ice, people won't miss him. When you have him substituting for Flip, people won't miss Flip. He called Joe Budden out on this and said Joe did this strategically. He meant to do this as a way to passive aggressively show everybody on the show that they are replaceable, to kind of take away everyone's power and give it more of a level playing ground. I want y'all to get in the comments. What do y'all think about this observation? Why do y'all think Ish feels this way? And do y'all think he's correct in calling Joe out on this? Ish asked Joe why he didn't have his day off yet. Joe really didn't have a good answer for it. He didn't have a good reason. He kind of talked in circles, coming back to how great Marc Lamont Hill was and how good he integrated with everybody. Joe was basically saying he just wanted to see Marc Lamont Hill's chemistry with the rest of the podcast, and that Mark makes everybody raise their game up, and him being on the podcast makes the podcast better than before. So he's essentially saying Mark's value raises the value of the podcast. So without him, the value is lowered. I think that's a manipulation tactic. I think that's a mind game from Joe Budden. I think Joe Budden has PTSD from what happened with Rory and Mal. He probably feels like Rory and Mal felt too entitled. He probably think Rory and Mal felt like they were bigger than they really were. They were a bigger part of the show than they were. Of course, Rory and Mal disagree with that. But I'm just speaking from Joe's perspective. What you believe is what you believe. I want y'all to get in the comments and let me know what y'all think about it. But Joe doesn't want that to happen again. So he wants to have a variety of different hosts. He said the other podcasters didn't perform as well when Mark is not there. So he's kind of saying it's on them to raise their game when Mark is on the pod. That's another passive-aggressive way of creating competition. That's what Ish thought. That's what I think. I want y'all to get in the comments and let me know. As a boss or a manager or anybody in a supervisor leadership role, is it good to have competition amongst the employees? How does that work in the long scheme? Does that work good in the long term? I think it works good at first, but it usually doesn't end well. I want y'all to get in the comments and let me know what y'all think about that. Joe does not want any one co-host to have too much power. That's what this Marc Lamont Hill thing was about. I think it's a little bit too many people on the Joe Budden podcast now. It was 3 people. All right, in the best era of the Joe Budden podcast, it was 3 people. Okay, it's 5 now. Sometimes it could be 6. That's a lot of mics. I'm not sure they necessarily needed Mark. He's a great addition. Don't get me wrong. He's a great podcaster. He knows his stuff, and he does add a certain flavor to the show. He does add a certain level of talking points to the show that's helping for the quality. That's true. But I think Mark was added overall as a tool for Joe, as a measuring stick for Joe that he could use to try to measure his other co-hosts up against. I don't know, man. That's just my thoughts. Urban Artificial Intelligence, strategic thinking media platform. If y'all like the content, like, share, subscribe, and help the channel grow. I'm going to see y'all in the next episode. Peace.